In today's episode, we are going to be unpacking the hype around making six figures in business and why I think that 100 grand is not all it's cracked up to be. If you are newer to business and feeling like you were never going to reach the $100,000 mark, or if you have recently reached six figures in business and you feel like you must be doing something wrong because it doesn't feel how you thought that it was going to feel, then this episode is for you. Welcome to the Six Figure Brand Podcast, where each week we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to build a six-figure business as an online service provider. I'm your host, Morgan. I'm a branding expert, online agency owner, mom of two, and military spouse, and I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs like you understand the ins and outs of branding so that you can use it to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. Whether you're just starting out or focused on scaling, we're diving into everything you need to build a profitable and sustainable online business. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome back. So today we are going to dive into kind of unpacking the hype around making six figures in business and why 100 grand is not exactly all it's cracked up to be. Hearing me say that might surprise you a little bit, considering that the name of this podcast is the Six Figure Brand Podcast. And I do, in fact, run an entire membership called the Six Figure Brand Society. So before we really dig in, I want to share some small business money stats with you to kind of give us a little bit of context to work within. These are from a website called Fundera. It's like a subsidiary of NerdWallet, so I feel pretty confident relying on them. So first one is that small businesses with no employees. So this is going to be not only your solopreneurs, but a lot of us online business owners who don't have any W-2 employees. We're working primarily with contractors or people on like a project type basis. Those type of businesses have an annual average revenue of $46,978. In addition, 86.3% of small business owners are making less than $100,000 a year in income. And 82% of businesses that failed cited lack of cash flow as a driving factor in their demise. So those shocked me whenever I heard them. I'm sure they probably shocked you too. I want to do a little bit of math next. Your average profit margin for a small service-based business is anywhere from 5 to 20%, which is actually a lot higher than if you were to be like selling products or something. So if you're in the service industry, you're already doing yourself a big favor. Online business for sure allows you to be a lot more profitable because you don't have overhead like office space and additional utilities. You probably don't have a lot of employees, so you're not paying a lot of like insurance costs or anything like that. So for the sake of easy math, I'm going to assume a profit margin of 50%. That's kind of what I aim for in my business. So let's assume that you had 100K in revenue. So like gross, that's how much money came through your business in a year. At a 50% profit margin, that means that 50,000 of that went to expenses and 50,000 of that is quote profit. Now you're going to pay about 22% taxes on that. So that's going to take you from 50,000 down to 39,000. And if we divide that out monthly, that works out to about 3,250 a month, which if you're working like a 40-ish hour work week, and I know most of you are probably working more than that, trying to hustle and build your business. Hopefully some of you are also working less. I am currently working less than that just due to having two small kids and like lifing. But if you're working an average 40-hour work week, that $3,250 a month works out to $1,875 an hour. I bet you could probably easily make that working an hourly job doing whatever you're doing in your business in corporate. So as a copywriter or a designer or a project manager or a health coach or any of those things. I mean, you're going to hear me mention Costco a lot on this podcast because that was one of my first jobs and really had a big impact on me. But you can get a part-time job at Costco and they pay that much. The drawbacks are that you don't own your own time, right? So you're showing up, clocking in, clocking out when someone tells you to. There's always risks of layoffs. This is one of my biggest pet peeves when somebody leaves their 9-to-5 and they get all kinds of people being like, oh, but that's not very stable. Well, guess what? Corporate life is not very stable either. When I left my 9-to-5, we had gone through 2 or 3 big rounds of layoffs in the 2 years that I was there. And then a bunch more came after I had left. So that like fake instability of a corporate job doesn't really do it for me. I think that's honestly more of a risk of staying in corporate. You also don't get to choose who your coworkers are. So I know we've all been there of like really not being able to stand the guy in the cubicle next to you. So I just want to take a second to point out that $18.75 an hour figure is a little dismal sounding, but there are other non-monetary benefits to owning your own business that I think we need to make sure we're keeping in mind here. Is your brand and website feeling stale, outdated, and disjointed? If you're feeling a little called out, we should chat. Spect & Co is here to help you show up with more confidence and book more clients through personalized and strategic branding and website design. Anyone could design you a pretty logo, but our strategy-backed system has helped our clients triple their audience size, double their revenue year over year, and increase their rates by over 30%. If that sounds too good to be true, I promise it's not. Use the link in the show notes to book a free discovery call so we can chat about what strategic branding and web design could mean for your business. So my whole point to all of this is that everyone, coaches in particular, I have a little bit of a bone to pick of them selling you this 6-figure business dream. Once you make $100,000, everything will be fixed. And I am here to tell you that $100,000 is not life-changing money. And like I said, too many coaches and marketers and people on the internet are selling you this story that as soon as you cross over that $99,000 mark and finally hit the ever elusive 6 figures, that you've made it and everything is going to be like rainbows and butterflies and your life is going to be fixed. I disagree. I want to also keep in mind whenever we're like loosely talking about 6 figures that that's a wide range, right? $100,000 with like all that math we just did is 6 figures, but $999,000 is also 6 figures. So I want you to make 6 figures. I enjoy making 6 figures in business, but I also want to be realistic here whenever we're talking about that and realize that honestly, $100,000 is really the bare minimum for your business to be profitable and sustainable and worth your time to continue pursuing. Now, please don't let that discourage you. I've had $1,000 years, I've had $100,000 years, and I have had everything in between over the last like 10 years or so that I've been in business. And no matter how perfectly you do everything, it's gonna be a journey full of ups and downs. Your income is never gonna be perfectly consistent. That's a goal. Obviously, we all want to get there. But I'm a decade in and I still have good months and bad months. And as an entrepreneur, you just kind of learn to be okay with that. I also think it's important that we don't lose sight of the fact that for most of us, making whatever XYZ amount of money, whether that's $100,000 or you want to make $1 million or you're happy making $20,000 as like a side hustle, that's not the only reason why we're in business, right? For a lot of people, myself included, the income piece is obviously great and cool and fun and a good like tangible way to measure your success, but it really is secondary to the freedom and the flexibility that being an online business owner provides us. For me, I knew whenever I started my business that the real why behind it was my husband and I wanted to have kids one day, and I spent my entire childhood being shuffled between grandparents because both of my parents had to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and I didn't see a lot of them when I was really little, and I didn't want that for my kids. So I knew that, maybe I'm giving up the fancy corporate office and the heels and pencil skirt, which, spoiler alert, I have no interest in anyway. But it's going to allow me to build my life and my schedule to be there for my kids. And, now having my husband be in the military, like that flexibility that I can work from anywhere. And when we need to move, it doesn't affect my job is like way more of a benefit than any amount of money could be. So all that to say that, yes, the title of this podcast is the 6-Figure Brand Podcast, and my membership is the 6-Figure Brand Society. And I want to get you to the point where you're making 6 figures sustainably and consistently. That is the important part. Because I want you to feel safe and secure in your business and in your life. And I want you to be able to start living life on your terms and spending your time doing the things that you care about and investing in what matters to you. And that's going to look different for all of us. But I think to close this out, I just want to say money isn't everything, and you're in business to make money. So it's okay to prioritize profit and making money and getting really nitty-gritty and strategic about those things. So going forward, I'm going to close out every episode with a little shout out. I think that relationships are so important in business, and especially as online business owners, it's just easy to hide out in our little home offices and never talk to each other and not build relationships. I'm a big introvert, so that's easy for me, and I'm actively trying to fight that. So today, since this episode is all about money, I want to shout out my friend Kimberly. Her business is the Terra CPA firm. I had her as a guest in the Six Figure Brand Society a few weeks ago. She gave an amazing training on some tax strategies to help us out as small service-based businesses. And she's also a mom of 4. So she understands, trying to plan financially for your kids' futures and how limited our time is, and that we really need to make this business thing worth it if we're going to be taking time away from our families. So if you are looking for a CPA or you just want to follow a cool mom business friend on Instagram, I'm going to drop her Instagram link in the show notes, and I would love for you to connect with Kimberly. Thanks for tuning in to the Six Figure Brand Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate the show and leave a review on whatever app you're listening on. And as a thank you, I'll send you coffee on me. Yes, I'm serious. As a smaller show for now, you taking the time to do this makes a huge impact on how we can reach more people and how I can continue to create this content for free. When you take a screenshot of your review, follow and tag me on Instagram at @SpectandCo. I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. As always, don't forget to check out the show notes for any links or resources I mentioned during the episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week.